I'm only here to grow people. I'm here to serve people, and I can't do that if I avoid people. So I personally will sit with you. You come to me. I ask people regularly, "How you doing? Are you being your best? How can I serve you to help you be your best?" That's how I close most of my one-on-ones. And then I hear my people, the directors, VPs, say that as they close meetings. How can I help you be your best? What do you need from me? And then, or I'll say, what am I doing that's holding you back from your best?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Visionary Leader Podcast. Today, we're focusing on how to build a culture in a construction company when the team thinks that culture is soft. And so my background, which I've shared a bit, is corporate, and culture is so important. I'm very curious, Jim, how it might be different in the trades, in a construction company, on a site. And so how would you define culture as you've seen it in your company?
I think it's not even just specific to trades. I think it's in any company, any corporation, and it's based on behaviors. And in larger corporation, it's established behaviors early on, when they were first founded. Those behaviors are a trickle-through effect, and maybe they change slightly when you have a different CEO, somebody got replaced or whatever. But it's really based on a repetition of behaviors from the managers, the leaders of department heads, of team leads, and so on. It's really a set of boundaries or guide rules that are performance-based, and it's based on action, not by statement. So you can say, here's my culture. Dave Ramsey has 14 core values. Most businesses have 5, 6, 7 of them, and they're defined, but they're basically defined by your performance. And so if you have consistency in your performance and what you convey and how you do things for and with the team, that's the culture and the values they will adapt as well. And so I know we say get dismissed so quickly in the trades environment. I don't know that they get dismissed as much as the turnover might be high, and then the core value performance based may not be consistent, and so there may lack consistency. But core values is really the repetition of the skill. They say repetition of skill is the mother of skill. Repetition is the mother of skill, and so you got to really find a way to push that same behavior. So in the trades, let's say you have a party on Friday and you acknowledge, great framing, great this, great saving of the trees, didn't waste a lot of lumber. That's all core. That's all culture of the business. And you don't tell them we're losing money. You tell them how to save money. And so you give them very specific things, and that becomes the core of the culture. It's the value. And so we know internally we don't want to burn a bunch of trees. We don't want to waste a bunch of lumber framing a building. We got to talk about how to be more efficient. And that becomes a core of your framing. You just say, here's how we do this. This is better so we don't have waste factor. That's just one of many opportunities there.
A couple of the things that we see as culture, like in corporate for where I'm at every day is, I was thinking about this in prep for the episode today, is just we own our work. And so I don't know that it's something we necessarily say every day. We have it written on a plaque or anything like that, but this is how it just organically happens. And even when we're hiring people, we think about strong accountability. We think about psychological safety, and that every voice matters. And these are just some of the things that, like I said, they're really organic. Do you see that being the case too in your company, on teams?
Well, for me, I've been the owner for 41 years. So I'm the founder, I'm the owner. So the core values of what I established early on is still what I live by every day. Those same core values are really easy. They're not wishful thinking. They're actual performance. It's how I carry myself. It's what I do every day. It's one of our core values is family first. We will respect others as though we would respect our grandmother with the highest respect and dignity. That's pretty simple. And that's really how I am. And grow others. Be intentional in the growth of others. We have some really specific, we have 11 core values. We do put them in print. I think that is appropriate because otherwise people won't know where you stand. But you have to use core values not as aspirational, but as actual. They'll say every voice matters thing. That's great. Is that real? No, it isn't. So, how do you make that real? It's only by example does it become real. And so it's literally how do you have the meeting and say, I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you have to say. Is literally that's the culture,
Right.
not the statement itself,
Right.
because it'll be dismissive. And so it's really how do you do that? That's daily habits. That's the expectations clearly defined. We call it 5 to thrive on low levels, 10 to win on higher levels. But it's based on our mission and our core values and the expectation of the buyer, so the customer. And that's really how you win. And then we set up the core values or the rails, if you will. It's the racetrack rails. So you can just gas it. So you can go as fast as you can in business and serve the buyer, and those core values are your guide rails so you can go fast and not fly off the track.
Have you seen it go wrong when you've hired? Like you thought maybe somebody, this just keeps coming up in my mind of how this applies so much. People may have the skills and the knowledge and all these great things, but the culture is just clashing. Have
Yeah.
you ever had that?
Well, yeah, of course. And it's really, I just say we hired poorly.
Mm.
We didn't take our time to hire the right person that aligns really well from a core value. Keep in mind, my core values and how I established this company 41 years ago is radically different than everybody that's employed here. Radically different. So if you look at everyone's individual core values, they're all radically different. But there's some nuances, there's some uniqueness in one of or all of their own personal core values that'll align with the core values of the corporation. All companies, not just trades. This is all companies. And it's really important in your hiring process that you're looking at that. You're evaluating the core values of Johnny and Mary, the ones you're about to employ, that their core values may not be the specific ones, but they are aligned with yours. So they don't have family as a core value. They just go hang out with family. It's great. We do pizza Friday nights. We do beer on Sundays. Watch football game. That's great. That's a core value, but they don't believe that. They don't actually say this is my core value. But when they come in, it aligns because they're doing pizza on Friday nights with the family. They're doing the football game on Sunday, whatever, what have you. It is a core value, and we just express it. We write it out, and then we behave that way. We welcome them. We call their family. We say, hey, Mrs. Johnson, I want you to know Tommy was doing exceptional today. You married great guy, or vice versa, whatever that is. But we extended beyond the individual. We go to their family. I've even written cards to their kids and say, you have an exceptional mom, you have an exceptional dad, and here's why. I define the why, but I send them a little thank you card, and I just say, keep supporting them. They're doing an amazing job, and they're making other people's lives better.
Thinking about on the job, so in a construction site, and again, I'm learning a bit from you on some of the worlds are so different, but not.
Yeah.
What do you see as if you could name different words or things that you see about the site and where you would call out culture? What are the things you see? What's happening? Is it language? Is it like what would you see showing up as culture on an actual site and building and things are happening? It's not a corporate setting. It's not an office setting.
Yeah.
Is it really different?
Yeah, they can be different because their belief systems are a little bit different in how to build something. Their value of how to build it could be different. They could be incredibly frugal when we're building top tier. We're building Ritz Carlton, they're building Motel 6. And I'm totally using a metaphoric. It's really, there's no derogatory intent here. It's literally are you building bottom of the or at the top of? And there's a value associated with that. Unless you flex, you can't build top value if your core values are low value. Likewise, the opposite holds true. You won't perform well in that lower level if the only thing that you're doing is that higher level. And so you need to recognize what those core values are that build and make things better. For me, back then, it was family. And I go deeper in this and when I give a talk about this. For me, it became aspirational and then it became actual. So when I wrote family first, is because I didn't do anything family related. I avoided family. And not only did I avoid family, but I was busy building a business and did not take time for family.
Hmm.
Certainly the first 7 years of my daughter's life, she barely knew who I was. I would work round the clock. I would sleep every other night because I was busy because I'm a 24-hour operation. I always have been. 41 years I've been 24 hours, but I was the 24-hour. And so it became aspirational for me. I'm like, man, I got to figure out what this family thing is. I got to spend more time. Why am I avoiding everybody that I don't know yet? And so it became on me, it became a goal. By the way, it's literally on my goal list was to be intentional about to align with family. And so when I wrote it for the core values of the business 35 years ago, I put family first. And I literally said family first. That's the core value. And I wrote it as number one. And as you know, in business, you don't write them in a chronological order. You don't write them numerically. You write them, they're all the same, one and the same in any order. And so for me, I said family first, and that we're going to respect and be with family and then treat them with the highest level of respect and dignity. And that was really aspirational because that wasn't me. In some cases, I didn't care for family. Some of the extended family or the beyond family was
Right.
just
Right.
difficult to be around. And so I've really had to live that. And now it became the core value. I have people that have stayed with me in excess of 30 years because of that. So it develops loyalty when you align really well on a core value, a culture, as we call it today. But you align on those core values, people develop a loyalty based on that because they find comfort like, whoa, this is my family. I'm not
Right.
leaving. There's pros
So
and cons to that.
interesting question, Jet, that you're bringing up in my mind of it wasn't something, and I'm going to restate it in my words, but it was putting family first wasn't something that was easy or something you were maybe really looking forward to. It was something that was going to be hard. What motivated you to go into the hard? And then that became your value. And then that's a culture thing at your company.
Yeah.
What motivated you to do the hard? Because I think I heard you say that.
Yeah. So it wasn't as hard to be around family as it was a choice to build business. For me, the value was is I could build business. And so one of my core values is develop others through new experiences in structured education. I developed a structured education program in 1988. A long time ago.
Way back.
But I literally wrote a system that I would reimburse or pay for education because that's so critical that people continue to grow. For me personally, I'm enrolled in something every year and I have for many, many years. I spend probably 30, 40 grand in personal education annually just on me. And so it's literally one of my core values, but I know I got to set that example. And so I am that example of new experiences. I'm all about new experiences. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to go try it. And so it's literally, I want my team to think and feel the same way, but that's at the core of who I am. So that's at the core of who the business is. For bigger companies, you have to continually practice that. It has to be in writing. They have to be able to read it or they won't ever buy in and believe it. So your VPs, your directors, your supervisor, manager, people in department heads, they also need to be that culture, that core value. And so in the hiring process, they got to align. You got to say, here's what I expect. I'm going to ask Johnny and Mary to go through these questions, and then I'll surmise. I'll extrapolate where they align with us. And if they align, man, they get the job. We'll teach how to fix the widget. We'll teach how to do whatever it is. But you can't teach core. You can't teach character. You can't teach motivation. That's something that's from within.
Yeah. Um, what do you think is something leaders do every day that shapes culture for the team? Like, what have you seen your leaders do that they're doing really well?
For me, I like managers that I promote from within. I hear them speak in my voice,
Mm.
and I watch them perform in my mannerisms. And for me, that's just like I develop a trust and a comfort at that point that they've established some guardrails, as we call them. They've established those same guardrails that I established for them. They've bought in, they believe it, and it aligns well with who they are. And then that is really what disseminates through the rest of the team. They walk the walk, they talk the talk, and it's the trickle down. The leader has to start it. The leader has to be that representation of whatever that original core value that establishment was. But the leader has to do that. They have to act, be be present, act on, and be part of and inclusive of. But you better hire right, otherwise you may be misaligned.
Mhm. Yeah, I've seen us definitely hire wrong. Wrong in the way of a culture fit. It just
Yeah.
didn't work. I've been in that situation very
Yeah.
candidly. So it
Yeah.
just our values did not align, and I made a choice to leave. And that's what we get to do. We just might need to separate
We
if that.
hired a manager recently that lasted 2 weeks, and he
Oh,
went through everything. He was literally this was the money shot. This was the guy. And we put him in, went through all the training, did everything. We released him. He was irritated on a Friday, and Monday he turned in his tablet, his keys, cards, codes, car, and gone. And I had to sit down. I had to call a meeting with his director, and I just had to call the meeting. And I just had to say, we have to own this. We can't blame this guy. This is
mm-mm.
on us. We own this 100%. We hired wrong. We did not align with him. We were believing, we were naive to believe that he was totally aligned with us and we with him. And we hired him really based on somebody else's words. And so
Yeah.
we did not align. And literally it lasted 2 days once he was on his own.
Wow. So,
And so as good as we are at hiring and creating loyalty and building and developing people, we still screw up once in a while. And that was a royal screw up. But we had to own that. And that is a core value for us. We take full ownership as managers and leaders. When somebody fails on our team, we just say, I'm sorry that I failed you. I'm going to help you find another job. I'll write you a letter. I'll do whatever I can to get you someplace where you will be better, but it isn't here. And that's on me. And I'm sorry that I gave you a job that I didn't qualify you for. I gave you a job that isn't within your reach right now, and I can't train you. Not your leader.
oh, not your leader.
I'm not your leader.
Yeah,
And that's hard. And but
that's
my
hard.
my leaders do that. I mean, it's I've heard them talk it. I've heard them say, "Man, I'm sorry. I gave you a job and it's very different than what you were expecting. That's on me. We hired wrong. We're sorry. I want to help you get a better deal. I want you to thrive, but it isn't here."
So it's caring and respectful and just is what it is. We need to talk
Those are
about it,
some of
be
the
open.
very, very core values we have.
Yeah. What have you changed when you saw you had a wrong hire or wrong like it was just a miss in the culture? What's something you changed?
We don't change anything right now. We go back to the basics of who we are and what
Okay.
we do. We go back to those guardrails. We jumped the guardrails. We did not align well. We know who we are. We just have to own what we did wrong and go back at what we know we do right. We have tenured employees because we've done it right. We have made very few mistakes, but in this case, we postponed this person's growth by 3 or 4 weeks in his career path because we held him back for 3 or 4 weeks. He left. We didn't have to get rid of him. He left. We would have discovered pretty quickly that we misaligned. We still have to own that 100%. So we don't change anything. We get
Okay.
back to where we're supposed to be and realign. Next
So
person coming in is realigned.
you hold like a retro? That's what we would do normally in engineering is you had a retro of reflecting on what happened.
Yeah.
We look at our guardrails, we look at the process, we look at does anything come up just
So
as a tip for
we do
anybody in
that.
there?
We have one smaller team. So we got four of us that sit in the round room. We say, okay, let's go. We got to talk about this. Next
All
meeting is
right.
Tuesday. Here's what we got, guys. This was horrible. This is on me. I was the first one to initiate this. This one, oh man, that was me too. I interviewed. I thought it was, and then boom, that's just a responsibility thing at that point.
Sure.
And we apologize to each other. We say, I'm not going to do that again. We'll go back to what we know to do. Slow the process. Go fast, but slow it. So if you want to go fast, you gotta slow down to go faster. And
Absolutely.
so it's a little bit counterintuitive there, but when we slow down enough to pay attention, we align well.
That's great. I love getting in a room and let's be honest and vulnerable and transparent.
Yeah.
And you start that. I'm assuming, like, it should ask a better question, but I'm just assuming that you start that, Jim. It started with you
Nowadays,
sitting
I
there.
have VPs that they can start it too. They're like, "Hey, we need to have a meeting,"
Yeah.
and they'll call a meeting. And sometimes I'm invited, sometimes I'm not invited. But it's just an ownership meeting,
Yeah.
and we say everybody's an owner. It's certainly director level and above. It's their owners. They're all owners. They own what they do. They own their career. They own their responsibilities, and they take that initiative. They're all owners. And so they don't have the financial responsibility I do, but they're owners in their own
Right.
right. And so they show up as owners, they speak as an owner, they take ownership as an owner. There's a lot of responsibility with that, but they'll call a meeting in a second and they'll say, "Hey, we're failing this client. What are we doing? Let's solve this. We're missing the boat. Here's what we have. Here's our mission. Go back to the mission. Let's go to work."
Yeah. Do you think implementing culture or talking about culture lowers expectations for the team, makes it soft, or what impact do you think it has on the team when you introduce culture and you talk about the culture?
Today, in the last 10 years, every corporation is talking about culture. 15 years ago, there wasn't any discussion. Then it became the hot button. You have to talk about it. You got to put it on the bulletin board. You got to make charts and plaques and posters. And for the last 10 years, I've seen this become just this massive movement. So much so that they have tests. You can figure out how to write, and really define what your culture was. I've been in business a really long time, and it's it's just your performance and your behaviors. That's really your core value. Core values or culture as it is not to just be aspirational, it's to be factual. Here's who I am. This is what we do. How do we align with everybody else? It doesn't make you soft at all. I think that initial discussion was mostly avoided versus saying that was soft. I think business owners, certainly small business owners, like, what? I'm busy. I got things to do. You go have your hoopla party, but I'll be over here. And then all of a sudden they're like, bro, I think I got to get in this thing. What is this? I got to learn more about this. And then, of course, then all the testing, all of the writing, all of the way to, discern these different things started coming about. So I'd say the last 10, 12 years, it's become such a big thing that people are now counting on, okay, well, what's the core value? How do I align with this company? How do I align with this position? How does that help me? And so culture today, as you know, culture has shifted radically. I think the last 2 years, we're seeing it shift back to a very work oriented dynamic versus how do I avoid work? Because we were in the avoid program for 10 years, like 8 years. Put a number on it, pick a number. But there was a big avoidance of hard work. And these last couple of years, I would say, if we put a timeline in there, we're back to that heavier work ethic to where we're really focused on not so much the 45-hour work week, but we're more laser focused on accomplishments with the company and for the company and with the team and for the team. We missed that the prior 8 years. It was, what am I taking? What am I getting? How can I benefit? Okay, I'm out. I got everything I needed. Peace out. And that's why we saw that 2 year commitment, that 3 year, and then most people were bouncing back then. Today, I'm seeing it starting to evolve back to a really structured, how can I be a bigger contributor? How can I be a bigger contributor long term? What does that look like and feel like for me? And if I align well with the company, the culture, the values, then I'm gonna find a lifetime place that I can just retire from. I can spend the rest of my life at. Loyalty
Yeah.
will develop. I'm seeing that over the last couple of years.
Yeah. I feel that also, just being an employee, not the
Yeah,
business owner. It really matters. Culture matters so much.
yeah.
Uh, have you had an experience where you had to make some changes to turn it around? You yourself in the business or somebody you know had to make some changes. How did they do it? If it was a culture that was not a good culture there, like you kind of hear people talk, right?
Yeah.
That's such a good culture. Have you experienced that and had to turn it around or
Yeah,
anybody?
we've had to part ways with people that were not so much tenured, but say 4 or 5 years with us, and we may have been either naive or avoiding, maybe ignoring what was kind of in front of us. And is what it was is we practice being helpful, period. I'm gonna help. If somebody's flat on the side of the road, I'm pulling over.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you get to the airport. If you say, can I get a ride? I'm going to give you a ride. It's
Yep.
literally go out of my way to be helpful. And there's no fees attached to that stuff. And people they misunderstand that in business that you got to fee everything. That isn't how business works. You don't fee anything except the actual event. Everything else is free. Your customer service, it's all free. Everything is free. And so when they avoid and say, go figure it out, I'm like, what? It's like a mind blow that I would have an employee or a manager say that to another peer or a subordinate, even as we may call that. If they say that, I'm like, well, hold on a minute. Let's have a talk. What is that about? Like, what are you avoiding? Is it something you just didn't know? Maybe we need to do a better job training you.
Sure.
Or is it a misalignment? In this case, it's misalignment. We recently parted ways with a person because of that. He was literally saying, go figure it out. I don't know. Go figure it out. He knew because he had been trained, he'd been experiencing this. And for him to shut people out, that is not what we do in business. We embrace, we care about, we love on, we make sure we're going to be the one to help you get it figured out, period.
What impact did that have on your team? That person, that situation?
The impact was a negative. Morale was low until the termination and separation became valid and real. And
Yeah.
then they're celebratory. They're like, "Yeah, man, that guy. What was his deal, man?" And then hindsight's 2020. Then
Mhm.
all the critiques come out. Well, where was that discussion? Last year. If you saw it last year, why didn't we have that discussion last year? So some of that is lack of comfort in saying that VP was a problem
Right. Right, right, right.
for that supervisor, that superintendent to complain about a VP. And so
Right.
we do want to welcome that. And personally spend time. They see the CEO is comfortable being with them, and I want them to develop comfort around me.
That's good. So time to repair. A little bit of time to repair in there.
A little bit
Mhm.
better
It's
engagement.
gonna happen again potentially, right? Just unfortunately, and then it's
Yeah,
learning.
today we did a org chart reorganization,
Mm.
and this is going to be a shift,
Yep.
and there'll be a little bit of a journey and a learning opportunity because CFO has to relinquish control of a certain department, and operations has to take control of that certain department. And so I've made that decision this morning and over the last week, and then I rolled it out today. And so everyone was like, "Whoa, what?
Well,
What?" So culture shock. Here we go. We're
yeah,
changing things, but I wanted to have a big shock because it really did need to go to the operations and have full control of that versus the CFO. CFO is getting stuck in remedial tasks, and so we needed to make that shift, and it's the right shift. It's how it's going to be, and most of them are already embracing it, except the ones that are hoarder of tasks. Hoarder of tasks
mm-mm, mm-mm.
don't like to relinquish responsibilities. They want to hoard that task until it dies. So we nip that in the bud and say, yeah, that's no longer your task.
So it sounds like you tell me if I'm wrong, I rip the Band-Aid off and here's what it is, and we're gonna roll this out right now.
Yeah.
There's no coddling with your
No, I don't do
approach.
that. I'm not good
All
at that stuff.
right. All right.
That's not a strength for me. I'm a decisive person. I've
Yeah,
decided, and I'm going to let you know what that decision is. Other things, if it's a group effort, then I'm always the one to defer and get everybody in the circle to contribute their insight as to what they see, what would be the repercussions, what's the risk, what's the challenge, what's the opportunity. They have to contribute that. I'll ultimately make a decision, but it may be totally aligned with what their decisions are. And it's an org thing that I should have done 30 years ago. And so I've kept letting the admin side stay on the CFO's responsibilities, which
sure.
she delegates to admin, HR, and some other people. And I literally like that. We've just been wrong. And I'd rather just be right. And so we're just going to move it. And so we finally rolled that out today. And it's just a shift that we should have done 30 years ago.
Hmm.
At our size today, is why it doesn't work anymore. When we were smaller 30 years ago, it was okay because we can wear multiple hats in multiple departments. Today, we have to stay in this department thing. We have to be in this line, and this is where we really need to focus. And so, taking that and moving that around, that is a culture thing. It's really the culture of we're not going to overburden you with tasks that you shouldn't be involved in. We have to make sure we do that.
I have a couple of questions that come to mind. So does EOS play into this at all, Jim? Like we've talked about that before in the past, in the
Yeah.
way of structured and here's operations and here's did that come into your mind in any way?
It always does because literally 30 years ago, I knew that structure of all business. If you take business, 50 years ago, they had that structure in departmentalizing the business. because you're going to hire a sales or a marketing person. They belong in the sales and marketing person role, not in the accounting department. And so it has always been in corporations, has always been defined departmentally. And then, of course, EOS wrote a book a few years back and really started saying, here's our discovery. Here's what it should be. Let's talk about it differently. And so, but most old businesses, I say old business, I point at myself, we've been around a long time. We've had, the division of the departments because it's just aligns. Your sales and marketing people go to the sales department. They don't go to operate. They don't care about operations. Operations people want to go fix stuff and solve problems. They don't want to be they don't want to be the money counters. They don't want to go chase dough. They want to go fix problems. So they're going to go pound nails, go do whatever they do in the operations side. That's clearly defined. And then the CFO, finance, HR, and all the other ones that are money related, man, they don't want to go fix something. And they certainly are all introverts, so they don't want to go talk to people. So it's a no-brainer to align positionally and align in the department that they are best serve in.
How will you handle change management for people that are processing change? So not everybody's the same. Some people are going to say, I'm on it. This is amazing. How can I get on board? And then some people are going to not say much, but think and process and wait. How do you handle change management in your culture?
We just shoot people mostly, get rid of them. It's
We just all
oh
listeners.
man, it's really so for us it's a process. So we sit down, we go through an interviewing process, we dissect, we give them critiques, and then we say, here's a scenario, how would you manage or handle? What do you see with this trade-off? What do you see with this challenge? What do you see with this opportunity? And if all of that stuff checks out, then bam, get behind them and start pushing and help them get into that new role, new position, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But go
So
through
you
the
allow time
process.
for them. I
What's
hear you
that?
say you allow time for them to sit for a minute if they need a one-on-one or they need
Yeah,
that's in your culture is to
that's
allow.
100% in our culture because I'm only here to grow people. I'm here to serve people, and I can't do that if I avoid people. So I personally will sit with you. You come to me. I ask people regularly, "How you doing? Are you being your best? How can I serve you to help you be your best?" That's how I close most of my one-on-ones. And then I hear my people, the directors, VPs, say that as they close meeting. How can I help you be your best? What do you need from me? And then, or I'll say, what am I doing that's holding you back from your best? And so usually they give you some insight. They'll say, well, I was thinking about that. I need another computer. Great. That's done. Next. And we just decide quickly. We answer questions. We move on to the next level. Most people don't say, can I get a new car? Well, some people do. And and in some cases, I got to get procurement involved or fleet management. And we get them a new car if that's really necessary, but we'll assess that. But operational changes, career path, growth, educational opportunity, we got run right now that wants to be X-ray tech. It's got nothing to do with my line of business.
Right.
I'm going to make sure she becomes an X-ray tech. I will make sure she finds a way to find her career path. She'll leave us forever. I'll never see her again.
Right.
And that's a sad day because she's an excellent employee. She's just a really good person. But I never want that to be on my shoulders that I'm holding this one back from being her best. I'm here to help them be their best. It's going to cost a couple of bucks. We'll get her an education. It'll take her a couple of years working at nights, weekends, whatever she's got to do. But she's committed, and I'm committed to help support her to get to that best version of her.
Wow. I love that because maybe that is where she should be and serving people how she was
100%.
meant.
I even
How she
asked
was
her,
meant.
I even sat with her and I asked her, so what was the original spark? And she had, some family trauma and was a child. And so she wants to be pediatric, X-ray tech, ultrasound. She wants to do that specific thing in pediatrics because of the trauma she experienced earlier. And I'm like, man, I'm in. There's a compelling vision for her of what she believes she should be doing. Who am I? I'd be reckless as a CEO to block that. Years ago, I'll tell this quick story, and we're going to have to get going here. But I was coaching a guy that owned some gyms in San Diego, and he met with me. And on the second meeting, He says, I got this, because we go through the org chart. We see who's in, make sure everything's aligned before we start trying to grow a company. If you got a weak link, we got to fix that first, change it, grow it, move it, something. So we align everybody on the business before we actually start really, truly deep dive coaching. And he says, no, I got this amazing receptionist. I don't want to teach her I don't want her to learn anything else. She's so good at the front desk. I don't want her to move.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm not your coach.
Mhm.
I'm not your coach. I don't align well with you. Our core values just aren't aligned. I think his name is Mitch. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mitch. I don't align with that. I want to grow everybody. That reception person that's so good. Who are you to say she should be that reception? It's her decision. And if she wants to be an exceptional, then you got to grow her to be her very best at what she does do, or help her grow to her other level. But that's on you. That is not on her. She agreed to work for you in optimism of your potential, not hold her back. That's on you. I don't align well. I can't coach you. And
Wow.
so I have done that over the years. I'm like, I don't align with you culturally or values wise. If you're trying to hold anybody, I'm your last guy to help you. I'm going to help you grow your people, and I'll find ways to do that. And that's including letting them go with grace, because you have been the problem in holding them back. There's an opportunity for them to be better somewhere else.
I love how you see people in your company, Jim. It means a lot. It means a lot to me on who I am.
Yeah,
The people matter, and without them, we can't do anything. They're the ones that are solving the problems, inspiring, leading, loving, all of it. I love what you're doing.
all of it.
I love
Love
it.
on people, man. Help them be their very best. That's the whole key, man. That's a core value for me. And like I said, it had to become aspirational from a family
Yeah.
standpoint, because I just didn't have time.
Yep.
And that was reckless. I can tell you, all these successful business people over the years, they will tell you today in their 50s and 60s, love on your family, be with your family, forget the work. It's all crap. So don't buy into their story. Their story is, if you're going to build and be an entrepreneur, it takes devotion, man. It takes hard work, grind, and it takes hours, or 75 years to be an overnight success. You don't have that. You got to get going, because you're going to impact a lot of lives. So you got to work your tail off. And there's a sacrifice when you do that. So anybody that's highly successful, 67 years old, I can tell you there was a sacrifice for family and connection early on. And then they said aspirationally, oh, geez, I'm going to go spend time with my wife, my kids. I'm going to be hanging out. I'm going to go boating. I'm going to go do this weekend thing, camping and whatever else. But that was later. It was not when they were trying to build a business. It's
Right.
crap. Don't buy the story, but make sure you buy in today. Make sure you found the way. It could be aspirational. For me, it was that I said, geez, I'm going to go love on my family. To this day, it's on my core value of growth that I'm intentional in how much time I spend with family. I live around a lot of family. I'm with at least 3 or 4 of them multiple days per week, not including just my grandkids, my aunts, uncles, cousins, and everybody in proximity. I spend very intentional time with them. And I did not. I avoided them for years.
One value bomb, Jim, and then we'll wrap this amazing show. What do you have?
Yeah. Core value is watched by your people around you. They'll either mimic it and become part of it, or already have it and align with you. Make sure you're interviewing well. Make sure you're not the problem to hold them back. Make sure you align well, so they can align well with your buyers, your customers, your guests, whatever it is you serve. Make sure you're aligned well, and then just pour the gas on, go as fast as you can, and serve as many as you can. Olympian level happens once in a lifetime, and then you're excellent the rest of your life. Get to Olympian level, and that takes a hell of an effort. And then you'll drop down. You'll be excellent the rest of your life. Think of any Olympian you know. 1 or 2 times, that's it. They're excellent. They've been on magazines. They're on TV shows and news. Be that person. Become that person. You'll be excellent the rest of your life.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Till next time.
Thanks for being here.